Okay, beautiful. So we are live and we're back for PsyCap July, our second annual PsyCap. After June, we marked our 1 year anniversary. So we've got an exciting presentation today coming from the Microdose team. We'll be hopping on at the end to do a panel of our own, the first time we've ever done something like that. Got a couple other pretty interesting company announcements. We've got a brand new website up and running. Thank you, Connor, our tech genius. So if you check out microdose.buzz, you can check out the new website, new layout, new format, all that good stuff. And very excited to announce the news that we have closed our private placement, our seed round. So we are officially funded as a private company and ready to scale up into 2021. Looking forward to 2022. So Richard, we've got a great Psychedelic Capital coming up today. Do you want to do a little intro?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the biggest so far, I think coming up to nearly 1,500 people have signed up for today's PsyCap, which is incredible. And we can see everybody's filling up. Of course, this is just the buffering part of the event where we just do this preamble while everybody sort of rolls in. But a little bit of housekeeping: if you're wanting to join in the conversation on social, then the hashtag is PsyCap. If you want to talk to any of our panelists, either the people who are doing the presentations or the actual sort of panels that we'll talk about later on, Patrick will tell you who's presenting, then the best thing is to use the Q&A function on the platform rather than the live stream. That way your questions can be upvoted and we can make sure that we spot them and we hand them over to the panelists. However, if you just want to get to people and you just want to have a chat while you're here, then please use the chat channel for that. Some really interesting and exciting industry news. Congratulations to our friends at Field Trip, a previous PsyCap sponsor, for their admission to the NASDAQ. Many companies now found their way onto the NASDAQ. It was only a small possibility, I guess, when we started this journey a little over a year ago, that a company would get onto the NASDAQ. And here we are with many companies, a lot of hard work involved. So congratulations to the folks at Field Trip. Ronan is a dear friend of ours over at Microdose. I know he's worked very, very hard with his team to achieve that. Also, congratulations to another previous PsyCap sponsor, portfolio company for us at the Conscious Fund, Cybin. They have announced that they have been accepted to New York Stock Exchange America, the first psychedelic medicine company to go to the NYSE. And that will be happening around about the 5th of August. And also in other Cybin news, they closed off a 30 million private placement raised overnight. Congratulations. Private deals in the market, filling fast, some incredible companies. Some of them are going to be showing off at the PsyCap event today. Some of them are raising their first round of financing, some of them already on a route to being a public company. So yeah, lots of exciting companies showing today. And thankfully, touch wood, public markets generally showing more green than red. A lot of momentum, a lot of really interesting companies going public, and companies raising money out in the private market. So what else have we got to touch on, Patrick? Who have we got showing their wares, and what are we talking about at today's PsyCap?
The ever important question, our favorite, our sponsors. So today we have one of my favorites phonetically so far is Microdose Therapeutics. Patrick from Microdose.
Patrick from Microdose.
Introduced by Patrick from Microdose. So we've got Microdose Therapeutics with Patrick Ekstrom, Chad Connor, Frank Gochki. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We've got two content panels. One of them is going to be on drug delivery. One of them is going to be on supply chain. In between those two content panels, we've also got Levity Labs, who actually just went public last week, and they've
congratulations.
They've just been hammering out the announcements. Lots of great news coming out since going public. So really happy with where they're at. And a previous, well, sort of a previous sponsor. So we had Robin Arnott from Andromeda Entertainment on Psychedelic Capital. I believe it was last November. So since then, Entheo Digital has branched off from Andromeda Entertainment. So you're going to get an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the new business and where they're going with that. So those are our sponsors and content panels. And then at the end, Microdose will actually be taking a spot for ourselves to fill everybody in on what's happening with Wonderland Miami, all the event details, how you can get involved, and all the good information that everyone's looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've obviously, well, not obviously, maybe you haven't been following, but last month's PsyCap, we gave out the dates. We committed to announcing the venue and more details very shortly afterwards. I can assure you that putting an event on in the middle of a pandemic takes a lot more preparation from when I used to put events on and we weren't in the middle of a pandemic. So an incredible amount of work going off behind the scenes before we felt comfortable to announce the venue, announce all the details of the ticketing, talk to you about the programming that we're going to be doing, things which are really important to us, areas that we're going to be supporting, all of that good stuff. And yeah, we're going to be inviting the events team. Many of them lurk behind the scenes, putting these amazing virtual events on and working on our in-person events. And they're going to be joining us, showing us their beautiful faces at the very end and telling you all about Wonderland in Miami. If you joined us for the first time and you're thinking, what the hell is he talking about? What is Wonderland? Heard of Miami? Wonderland is our in-person event concept. It takes place on the 8th and the 9th of November in Miami, and we will be putting a little pre-drinks thingy together for our speakers and their invited guests on the 7th. And we've got some incredible speakers that we're programming in, and a very, very impressive venue. But I'm going to keep my lips sealed until the very end, when we're going to be able to tell you all about Wonderland in Miami. So if you want to know all about the venue, all about the ticketing, when you're going to be able to get the tickets, all the amazing things that we're going to be doing in Miami, then you have every incentive to hang out with us virtually till the very end of today's PsyCap.
It's true, folks. We seem to have a nasty habit lately of being 1 or 2 days away from big announcements on the day of PsyCap. So, last month it was the raise. This month it's the launch of the microsite and the official ticketing launch and the venue details and speaker details and all that. So we're really excited to share that with you. Stay tuned for the post-event email. We're anticipating that it's ready to go by then. Prakar, hallelujah, I agree. Richard, in the industry overall in the past month, what have you seen? There's obviously been a ton of big board action, a lot of big announcements, a couple big IPOs. What are you seeing that's hot and exciting on the market today?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing lots of really great early stage companies, more and more use of technology, which I find super exciting. So we're starting to see some common themes around the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, some great use cases of VR. I have become a huge fan of my Oculus Rift, which I bought just to watch a psychedelic VR program on, which is called Trip. Which if you've got an Oculus or you're getting an Oculus, it's Trip with 2 Ps, Trip VR. It immerses you in a beautiful, beautiful psychedelic experience. And they actually launched a mushroom world on Monday, which has been a whole lot of fun exploring, even if I do look rather peculiar with a Oculus strapped to my head. But a whole lot of fun. So lots of interesting consumer technology, companies going out there and building consumer packaged goods businesses. We have the wonderful people. Oh, Patrick.
So, wow. Just giving Robin and Entheo Digital a shout out.
Yeah, no, lots of really, really cool uses of VR. I do believe that it is going to really help sort of take therapy and adoption to a next level. And of course, we covered a lot of stuff at the last PsyCap on all things VR. But yeah, consumer, a lot of sort of interesting consumer packaged goods companies. We had Gwella talking, and they were kind enough to send Guella samples out. So hopefully everybody who was in the United States who requested their Guella sample have been able to try their legal microdosing product. But also other really cool companies. There's a psychedelic water, which is out in the market, which I know a number of our friends have invested into.
I just heard Cody's ears perk up.
Yeah, hot on TikTok.
Yeah.
Incredible vibe on that product. He says, trying to sound like the kids. But psychedelic water. So lots of really cool, interesting consumer packaged goods companies coming into the market. I think that shows a pathway that more and more consumers are resonating with the term psychedelics. It's losing some of that kind of stigmatization, which is really, really wonderful to see. So those are some interesting trends. And then the next sort of generation of medicine companies, and these are people who are developing interesting delivery solutions, one of them being Microdose, who will be talking later on, but also companies who are working on conditions with compounds that we don't necessarily associate right now with psychedelics. So I think that's a really interesting trend. And then other companies who are developing new methodologies in terms of how we interrogate receptor pathways, and we've made some recent stealth investments into a couple of those types of companies. They're very under the radar at the moment, but hopefully over the next sort of couple of months they're going to start to be able to talk openly in terms of what they're doing. So a huge amount of real innovation taking place in this space, and my view is some of the biggest companies that we're going to see in the psychedelic medicine space have yet to be even conceived. So, I think it's amazing that people like Atai have grown to an incredible size in such a very short period of time. But my view is there's going to be companies which can become even bigger than Atai. If Atai don't end up buying them. Comes a bit like the tech world. Will Facebook acquire you, or will you potentially become, bigger than Facebook and bigger than Google? So still a huge amount to play for in this space, and some really exciting innovation, which is taking place, and not all of it in plain sight at this moment.
Absolutely. As the legendary scholar Michael Scott said, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm a sharky shark.
Fantastic. I will write that one down. In fact, maybe I'll tweet it.
That's great. So a couple, before we sort of wrap up on our panel here, we got a couple things. There's some things in the Q&A, so I'm just going to zoom through them because we only have a minute.
People are asking us questions? Wow.
People are asking us questions.
Wow, God.
Getting busier, yeah. So James is curious, are there any companies in the space using a full spectrum extract from sacred mushrooms rather than a synthetically derived psilocybin? First, I can think of Psych Wellness. They're doing the Amanita muscaria extract. Can you think of a rapid fire answer to that, Richard?
I think maybe look at what people like Filament are doing. That's probably an interesting company, Filament Health.
Probably Numinous as well.
Yeah.
One more, and then we're going to wrap it. Shoshana Ungerlinger. I connected with Shoshana a little while ago. She's going to be running a psychedelic conference in October. So if you visit let me just make sure I get the domain right, endwellproject.org, you can get in touch with Shoshana. She's wondering, does anyone know of companies focused on therapeutics or delivery for people facing terminal illness / end of life?
Yes.
Obviously aware of Therasil, but any others?
Yeah, so Canadian corporate structure, but very much initially a UK patient-facing operation, which is one of our portfolio companies, which is Albert Labs. So they are working on innovative new licensing regimes, which are available exclusively in the UK at the moment, a regime called ILAP, using real-world evidence instead of clinical trials. And they are looking to help cancer-related anxiety patients with psilocybin. So Albert Labs is a good company to check out, taking a very different approach to how you get a licensed medicine into the market.
Beautiful. And with that, I'm going to have to shoo us off stage. That is Albert, Albert Labs for Shoshana. We'll chat soon again.
Fantastic. Thank you.